Hello, hello, this is Lower. What is going on, people? I decided to do a track breakdown of my latest track, which came out on the Galaxy of Dreams on Friday, just gone, on the 29th of September. The track is called Hit Different, and it's featuring a very talented singer called SYNGA from the Netherlands. If you haven't heard her before, check her out. She's done some bits with Liquidity before. She has an incredibly strong voice, and actually I've done another track with her, which for you who have been watching my channel already, you will have seen. So if you haven't seen that, go have a look at that video. So I think we'll start from the top. This is quite a full track. I think it's got 130 tracks in it. Not all of them are being used at the moment. There's some old edits and things which I've left in there, but that's probably quite good for you guys to see. So we'll start with the drums. There's not actually too much complicated stuff going on here in terms of the bus. We've just got an EQ which is doing absolutely nothing. Love that. It's just, why not? We got a full parallel drum, which is like a New York style compression, which is set 50-50. Ooh, which is hitting about -5. That's actually a preset in Ableton, and to be honest, I just find if you whack that on drums, it brings them up, glues them together a little bit. I put that on drums as a default, to be honest. After that, I've got a bit of tube saturation there, a little bit on that, and then it's basically just a filter after that. That's just for effects, going down at the end of the segment there into the breakdown. I apologise as well because I am a little bit ill. I have COVID, so my voice might be a little bit croaky. On the kick drum, there is nothing. It's just a regular old kick. I think, this one is from my sample pack, actually. Plug. Lower kick one. Flutter. F. There you go. I quite like it because it's got a little bit of flutter in the top end, but I mean, in the mix, you're probably not going to hear that, but it adds a little bit of niceness. In fact, with the snare, I believe I added my own little flutter as well. So there's not much processing going on the snare because unfortunately I've bounced it all down, so you can't really see it as I've gone along because my CPU's a bit rubbish at the moment. Computer's a bit old. But, hello, there's quite a bit of EQ going on there. So this is one of the layers to the snare. Got some dynamic EQ and some little segments I've taken out there, and then compressed it again afterwards. And for some reason I've added reverb on the channel rather than using the send, which I don't know why I did that. The second layer to the snare, this is basically like a flutter, just to add a little bit of interest. Sort of sounds like when you distort something loads with a sine wave underneath it. It gives it that kind of crushed, fluttery sound. There's not much on that. I've just taken off the low end, and the fluttering is done in Shaperbox 3. So I've added some noise on top of it, and then I'm modulating a saw shape at 33,500 hertz. Yep. There you go. I'm not sure. I probably just experimented around trying to get the right kind of speed, but that is what that's doing. It just adds. I don't think it's got. It is a bit stereo, so yeah. I probably just gave it a stereo element, and I think that's just like a sample, a random one I found. Yeah, TS. Yeah. Okay. Then we go to the tops. These are just pretty bog standard stuff, apart from apart from the toms and everything. I think with this track, from memory, I started it with the drums. I remember thinking I want to make a beat with like some good tom hits and everything like that, really crunchy tom hits. So I found like a good sample. So if I found drum fills in here, it'll come up. So this is the original sample. It's a little bit messed up because it's changing the speed of the sample to the BPM of the track, but that is the sample I use. I chopped out loads basically, so I've distorted it and stuff like that. So this is what's going on with that. Yeah, crunch. And that little drummer hitting his sticks at the beginning of that loop I used here as another little element before the drop, which you don't really hear in the track, but it's kind of subtle, but I kind of like it because it's like getting ready for it. I've got a little effect here, just like almost like a reverse, except it's a little hi-hat that gets louder. Just kind of backs up that tom roll. Got some rides coming in here by the looks of it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Also at the same time I'm bringing in some shuffle patterns, bit of shakerage. No, it's like this is something I do quite a lot. I'm not sure about other producers, probably, but if I've got like a tom roll or a drum loop or something that comes in at the end of the bar, I tend to take everything else out just to give it more room. I used to leave everything in, and I find like you end up with like a messier mix. So if I'm taking it out like that, it helps a lot. Helps it define that part as well. The next section we've got something. Oh, just other kinds of shakery kind of sounds. Not even sure what that is. Just a bit more interest. And the intro, I've got the other toms which are just madly chopped up. It took me quite a while to get this right because I couldn't find something to use online, so I had to make it myself. I don't even know what style this is. It's like that kind of almost like circusy, I don't really know, like cabaret or something, I don't know, that kind of weird vibe. But I wanted that as like the build up because I haven't really heard that before in an intro. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe someone's done it already. But there's a bit of distortion on there from Decapitator. I've just got a filter doing its bits. Shaper box shaping the sound, so it's triggered by the audio. Oh no, it's triggered every eighth, which is, there you go. And it's basically softening. I know it's got a sharper transient on the top, or the top half of the sound, which goes down, and then the low end is more of a softer bump like that. If you haven't heard of this plugin, Shaperbox 3, it's incredibly useful, even just for the volume shaping. It's like transients galore. And then I've got a bit of distortion after that, which is not doing anything. Why not? I think I was obviously trying to get, like, experimented with that, get it right, but obviously that would be way too much. I've probably just left it at 0, but I just compressed it after that. All of that basically equals, I've got some like shakery stuff. This is the drums. There you go. Right. I'll skip the effects. Maybe we'll go back to them later. So the bass, unfortunately a lot of it is already rendered, but I can tell you, I did all of this in MIDI, obviously, and rendered it to this. So when I was writing the track, I had it basically all written in one MIDI line, and then once I was happy with the pattern, what I would then do is duplicate that MIDI and like change certain bits to different sounds and layer it over the top. So this is like my main bass here, like the main groove, the bit that carries the sub and everything like that, but it's got a bit of grit on the top, very gritty. But then I've layered like parts over the top, like for instance this, just to layer, like for example, gives it more impact on the drop and stuff like this. Yeah. Basically all these, they just give it more interest, right? That is very white noisy. Fair enough. I've got all like little, these sort of cyan colours, they're all little effectsy sounds. I think the reason they are like, they're not technically bass sounds, but I think the reason I left them in there from memory is because they were made from the bass sound, so I just left them in this group, in the bass group. So they're like, I think, pitched up little segments of like the bass, which kind of just, I thought they sounded really cool, like that. Kind of sounds like, oh. This one's actually still a MIDI roll. I think this is probably quite a simple sound though. Yeah, basic. In fact, you can see that. So all it is really is a saw wave with an envelope. Oh, the envelope is affecting the filter basically. I think that's it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. It's got a bit of release on it, a bit of decay, that's about it. Nothing special really, don't need all these cool sounds, and that's just layered over the normal bass, which gives it more oomph. Oh, I just noticed this as well. So instead of just having that for the second downbeat, I put that on, cut it up a little bit just to keep more interesting. So the first drop is this, and then it's this. Don't know, it kind of works. Just something to keep it interesting, isn't it? It looks like I've layered this over the top of this sound as well. Weird. That's actually a disco. Yeah, it's like a sample. Okay, there you go. Looks like I've chopped it up as well and like changed the notes. Yeah, +1. Yeah. So I've been manipulating other samples to fit with my pattern as well. That is the first part of the drop. What have we got here? Oh, there's a crack in there. Did you hear that? That's bad. Ooh. I mean, you won't hear that in the actual track, but that's poor form from me, really. I should have got rid of that. Where is that wobble? Is it here? Where is the wobble? Is it that? There you go. Some little edits. Looks like I've just rendered it to audio and just made it wobble. It's a lot of trial and error basically. Like I find like once I've got a pattern, like the bass groove or whatever, it's just about embellishing it and making it like, you know, like not visually, like interesting to the ear, like adding loads of ear candies and little bits that enhance it, you know. In the breakdown as well, I think we've just got like a basic, yeah, like eighths notes. or 16ths. The second drop as well is pretty much just a chop. I remember doing it. I just chopped up the original bass groove as audio, pitched. You might even see it here. Yeah, here you go. Look, +7, and pitched certain bits up, which probably isn't the best way of doing it if you're really concerned about like the quality of the audio. You should probably just redo it in MIDI, but because I cut loads of corners constantly, I did it like this. But you know, it sounded alright. You still keep the low end, which is good. Oh, there's loads of cracks in this as well. So sorry. You're hearing all my mistakes. Right, that is basically the bass line. Basically the bass line. Okay, on to the melodies. So, I think I had like the main idea for the intro originally came from a brass sample. If I can find it. Aha, brass. There we go. Which is this. And I basically ripped it off, used the whole thing. But I did add some extra brass and like a little top line of brass underneath it. Looks like I did chop it up as well to make it slightly different, but I've got like a contact brass plug-in here, which I used, that one, Session Horns. So there's like a little, this one as well, just little stabs. So we got those. It's basically about making it your own. You don't want to just put a sample in there. I don't have any issue with just putting a sample in, but you want to like somehow enhance it or chop it up or do, you know, add bits to it. That's where it becomes interesting. It shouldn't just be like put a sample in, done. It should be like that's like a feedback loop for yourself to sort of just create more on top of it, or you know, to inspire you. This is like just backup. Sounds pretty poor on its own. That's alright, I suppose. But it works in the context of everything else, so it doesn't matter. And then this is like a delay, I think. I love delays. Dub. So yeah, that basically governs the intro, that whole thing. I think from there, I added some other bits. Not even sure what's in here, to be honest. Pads. Lots of pads. And chords. Oh, I still have the chords in there. Interesting. I'm using FMA, which I never use. It looks like a preset I found. This one's Serum. One of my presets from one of my packs. PD Lush pad. On top of that, I've got Fragments, which is doing most of the work, I think. Just giving it that glitchy sound, but without that, it would just be like a basic pad, basically. There you go. So I've got those two as layers, and then this, which apparently is doing, oh no, it's just the filters all the way up. I think comes in later on. Either that's a mistake or I couldn't be asked to delete it, so I just left the filter up. Could happen. What we got here? Right, this is like an ARP. This you can hear on the intro quite prominently as well. Just more pads. Everything's layers. Like the more interest you can get, the better. By the sounds of it, this one's like a pitched up version of that other one. Or this is a pitched down version. Yep, this one here is a pitched down version of this one. I do that quite a lot. Also, one thing, I think the reason these are all in group is because what I've done at the end is I've pitch shifted them all down like a tape stop, like that. So here you can see shifter, the coarse pitch, just before the drop, because it gives it that, oh, something's going to happen. Which I've then cut out and used it again, just that here, just for the next segment. You can hear the delays going in the background as well. I don't think there's too much. Oh, this bit here. What's this? I see. This is obviously something I didn't use, and I don't know what this is, so this should be interesting. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember. So this is obviously something I had in there before I got the vocal, so to keep the interest. So we can have a listen with that in, see what it might have sounded like. I mean, it's alright, but you wouldn't have any room in the drop with the vocal as well for that, so I think that's why I've muted that. Speaking of muted parts, I've got some other vocal chops which I chose to delete. Actually, sorry, nothing really on the group there either, it's just to group them all together. There you go. These are the vocal chops that I had in the demo before I sent it to SYNGA. This one's not even in it, so don't want that. I mean, it's alright, it's just like not very special. If you just wanted the bass line, it's probably better for that. But after speaking to Liquidity, and I kind of agreed with them, it kind of needed that elevation, something else. And I think like this is where SYNGA really took it to the next level, because like it just sounds insanely good to me. I mean, her work is like not trying to be big-headed, but her work, what she did, was incredible. Honestly, I really rate her now, to be fair. So this is like her group. So she sent me all of these stems, all here, all these different layers, which can be quite intimidating. But if you've worked with, I mean, luckily I've worked with quite a few vocals, so it's not too bad. But I do know when I open a project sometimes and I see there's like 60 vocal stems or something, I'm like, oh man, this is going to take ages. But it's just about taking your time, doing every stem the proper way, tune it, make sure it's nice, put it in time with everything else, panning it properly. Like for example, these ones here, this is the choral part and the intro, which is quite a lot of stems. So we got one here, pan left. This one's a double of that first one, and it's panned a little bit more central. This one here is an octave up by the sounds of it, or a harmony, and it's a little bit more central. Then we go a little bit right with the other double for that third one, and then this one here is higher up even still, up the octave range, and this will be another double, which is even further right. So basically what I've done is I've put all the lower pitch ones on the left and then all the higher pitch ones on the right. So it's like a kind of, if you're like looking at a choir, that's how you kind of hear it. So it makes it a little bit, more realistic, I suppose, in a weird way. And then I'd do the same with these ones as well. So all the lower ones will be on the left. I mean, you don't have to do it like this. This is just the way I prefer to do it. But it's important to pan them around, because otherwise it will sound quite dead and in the centre. So you want to experiment with your panning with vocals. Also with this sort of stuff, it's almost better if it's not 100% in tune. You don't want it absolutely perfect. You can do, but it almost sounds more, you're not really going to notice if it's very slightly out, because there's so many layers. It just sounds real, But with something like a lead, you want that to be like nailed. You want that to be like perfectly in tune, but not like auto tune, unless that's the style you're going for. You want it to be like transparently tuned. That's the trick. And it's a little pet peeve of mine when stuff isn't like perfectly in tune. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. We should all try.
We've been running through the night. Oh, I got a feeling that you might not know how to please me completely and breathe me in, control me and hold me, accept your sins.
Yeah, as well, unfortunately I've already bounced everything down, so I can't really show you my vocal chains or anything. But I think like if you go on to my other videos, especially the one I did with SYNGA, you can see how I processed her vocal on that, and I would have done it a similar way here. So yeah, you can get an idea from that if you're interested. In terms of, this is basically just how I've laid it out in the end. I don't think there's anything I can show you. You can see I've chopped it up quite a lot. It's all about getting it in time with everything else. These are harmonies, I believe.
We've been running through the night.
Oh, doubles. So they're panned around to give it some stereo width. Doubles for the lead.
We've been running through the night. Oh, I got a feeling that you might not know.
The only effect I've got on there by the sounds of it is like a slap back kind of echo on there, which is just giving it, it's only at 7%, but it's giving it that little kind of, I don't know, slappy backy. Slappy backy. What am I on about? Slap back kind of sound.
Control. I can tell by the way that you stare here different. An extraordinary sight, your eyes keep shifting.
Oh, can you hear them?
Control me and hold me, accept your sin.
So these are harmonies, but everything's treated the same. In this particular project, I've panned the low ones to the left, working their way through to the right side. The higher up they get. There's some sort of like filler here for the last part of the drop. So I've just affected the vocal a bit. Chopped up with auto pan. shaper box. I've also got some breaths that she sent over as well, which kind of help that change, change is coming, and it gives it something a bit extra on the breakdown as well, even though it is quite subtle. So yeah, that has been my breakdown of Hit Different, which was out on the 29th of September 2023. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope we learned something, potentially even just enjoyed watching it. Peace.
Oh, I got a feeling that you might not know how to please me completely and breathe me in, control me and hold me, accept your sins, running through the night. Oh, I got a feeling that you might not know how to please me completely and breathe me in, control me and hold me, accept your sins. I can tell by the way that you stare, I feel different. An extraordinary sight, your eyes keep shifting. There's nothing like you've seen before, make you wanna beg for more. I can tell by the way that you stare, I feel different.
Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see each other soon.